Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're literally putting on the lab coats of forensic scientists to decode the multi-million-dollar amulet and antiquity trade. In a world that is so heavily driven by personal belief, folklore, and honestly just hearsay, the simple question of what is real and what is fake becomes incredibly complex. But we're going to strip away all those myths today. We're going to use empirical, scientific evidence to uncover the absolute truth.
Okay, let's just quickly open up our case file for today. We'll be navigating this through 5 key steps. First, the pyramid of truth. Second, belief versus science. Third, proof by material science. Fourth, law and fake amulets. And finally, the choice to truth. Let's dive right in.
Section 1. The Pyramid of Truth. Navigating the paths to authenticity.
I want you to imagine the quest to find a genuinely authentic amulet as this massive, giant pyramid. Millions of people are climbing it right now, and all of them are claiming they have the perfect shortcut, or the sharpest eye, or the secret knowledge. But here's the thing. No matter which path they take, there is ultimately only one absolute truth sitting at the very top, and that is the undeniable authenticity of the object itself. The object's truth doesn't magically change just based on how you decided to climb the pyramid.
So you might be wondering, what's actually the most accurate path to that peak? It's a concept we call the middle way. But listen, do not mistake this for some baseless compromise where everyone just agrees to disagree to keep the peace. Not at all. In this context, the middle way means objectively merging all available data using pure, unadulterated reason. To maintain the integrity of this entire industry, we have to accept provable facts over popular opinion.
Moving on to part 2, belief versus science, the information war.
We are looking at a really fundamental divide here. On one side, you have the commercial, traditional path. This relies heavily on personal experience, stories passed down through generations, and the general consensus of amulet groups. But on the other side, you have the scientific path. And this is a purely forensic approach relying on empirical evidence, chemical structures, and measurable physical age. It's literally the ultimate showdown, subjective human feeling versus objective chemical technology.
And there's a guiding principle we have to remember here. Numbers and matter never lie according to anyone's beliefs. Traditionalists frequently attack these scientific methods. But as academics and scientists, our strongest, most neutral response isn't anger or emotion. Actually, it's documented molecular proof. The material simply doesn't care what you believe. It just reflects the physical reality of what it is.
Which brings us to part 3, proof by material science, the unchanging witness.
So how do we actually get that undeniable proof? We follow 3 strict forensic steps. First, we extract and scan the material using advanced imaging technology. Second, we analyze the elemental composition right down to the atomic level. We aren't just looking at the surface with a magnifying glass here. We are literally reading the chemical structure that is formed over centuries. And finally, step 3, we compare that data to confirm the physical age. This molecular breakdown is the absolute key to proving age and authenticity beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Think of material science as your ultimate shield. Smear campaigns and online drama, they cannot alter the molecular composition of an object. The atoms inside an amulet are physical witnesses that absolutely cannot be bribed, and they can't be swayed by human opinion. This provides us with empirical data that is completely neutral and 100% unbiased.
Let's look at part 4, law and fake amulets. Protecting yourself in legal disputes. Now, what happens when these disputes leave the market and actually enter a courtroom? Well, the rules change entirely. If you're dealing with a multi-million-dollar legal case involving a fake amulet, your feelings or a guarantee from a buddy will completely fail you. Courts require undeniable proof. Relying on human trust when renting amulets carries a massive, massive risk. But relying on documented chemistry, that provides undeniable, objective evidence. Science is literally the difference between winning a legal case and losing a fortune.
And there is a truly fascinating phenomenon in this industry. Oftentimes, when problematic or fake objects are suddenly threatened by the undeniable light of scientific scrutiny, they just disappear. They get hidden away. Why? Because the physical truth is absolutely terrifying to someone trying to cover up a fake. It makes you ask, is the object in front of us evidence waiting to be proven, or is it being deliberately concealed?
So, to protect yourself from these fakes and potential legal nightmares, you need to actively reduce your rental risk. How do we do that? First, always demand documented scientific proof. Second, let objective chemical data drive your decisions, not what the group consensus says. And third, treat every single transaction exactly like a forensic investigation.
If you do this, your risk drops to almost zero.
And finally, part 5, the choice to truth, reaching the peak. Look, history is absolutely littered with people who threw away real, priceless amulets or hoarded worthless fakes purely out of ignorance. In the past, we had to rely on guesswork. But today, we have the technology to literally decode the history of an object right down to its atoms. And this is paving the way for a future market that is governed entirely by reason and empirical evidence rather than blind faith.
The absolute truth is always standing right there at the top of the pyramid. The only question left is, will you continue walking through the fog of hearsay, or will you choose the path illuminated by empirical evidence? The choice is entirely yours. Thank you so much for joining this explainer, and we'll see you next time.